What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of 90 Day Fiancé Happily Ever After, Season 8, Episode 3, Snow White and the 7 Chores. So let's get started with Jasmine and Gino. So their episode or their segment starts off where it left off last week, which was they're leaving the attorney's office. So they went to go see an immigration attorney for a consultation, and they wanted to know initially if Jasmine would be able to travel between the United States and Panama. The attorney told them yes, you just have to fill out the travel documents, and that could take anywhere from 8 months to a year, I think, for those documents to be approved. Then they talked about her children coming to America. So Jasmine and Gino were under the impression that all they had to do was amend Jasmine's immigration papers to add her children, but the immigration lawyer tells them no, because the children were not included in the initial documentation when she applied for her visa, they're going to have to start all over for the children. It's not as simple as just amending her existing documents. They're going to have to start from square one when it comes to the children. So because they're going to have to start from the very beginning for the children's application, it can take up to 2 years for the children to come to the United States. So Jasmine, of course, takes this really hard because in her mind, she's like, it's going to take 2 years for me to see my children. So she says that this would not have happened if Gino had hired an attorney. Now, Gino, he's Mr. Do-It-All, right? He feels like he didn't need an attorney because he was able to take care of his first wife's immigration papers completely on his own, and that went well. He took care of Jasmine's paperwork, and her coming here did go well, but for whatever reason, the children were left out. They were omitted from her immigration documents. So Jasmine tells him that he completely screwed up her life. Gino gets super defensive, and he says that he doesn't feel appreciated. He says that you're completely overlooking the fact that I got you here, successfully. I did all of that myself, and, you were able to come to America on your visa. So he feels like she's not taking any account of what he's done for her. So moving forward, she begs him, please hire a lawyer to help you with my children's documentation. And he is adamant that he is unable to afford an attorney. He doesn't have $5,000 to give to an attorney to do that. So moving on from there, like I said, they had left the attorney's office. Now they're sitting in like a little restaurant or a cafe, and Jasmine starts crying because he's adamant about not getting an attorney. Gino tells us in his confessional that they're both responsible for the mistake of omitting her children. She continues to beg him to get a lawyer. She calls him evil. She calls him evil because this man cannot afford, or he claims that he cannot afford to hire an attorney. He says that he's going to try to do whatever he can to bring the children here himself without the help of an attorney. She tells him that he's not ready to be a father, which I thought was a statement that was hitting below the belt, because he really wants to be a father. He really wants to have children of his own. So for her to tell him that you're not going to make a good father, you're not ready to be a father, I thought that she was kind of aiming below the belt with that. So then Gino tells her, you're effing screwed up in your effing dumb head. Now, when he says that, I felt offended because, obviously Jasmine is extremely problematic. We all know she's a handful. She's too handful. She's a lot to handle. But the things that he's done this before, where he's like really insulted her, and whenever he insults her like this, when he calls her dumb and he says, you're effing screwed up and you're effing dumb head, I felt like that was going a little bit too far. And this is a woman, if we're going to take her at face value, this is a woman who thought that she was going to be able to see her children sooner than later. She thought that her kids were going to be able to come to live with her within a reasonable amount of time. Then she finds out it can take up to 2 years, and who knows what other type of challenges they're going to have to go through. And it might even take even more than 2 years. And she's dealing with a man who doesn't want to hire the expertise of an immigration attorney. She feels like he messed up the paperwork to begin with because, they cannot amend her documents. They have to start all over for her children. So she's really devastated. I don't know if she's putting on an act or what, but this is a mother, like I said, if you want to take it at face value, who's really devastated because she's not going to be able to see her kids. And then for him to be very cold towards her by calling her dumb and dropping these F-bombs on her. I thought he was going just a little bit too far, especially since, she wasn't cussing him out. Yeah, she did call him evil, and she did say he wasn't going to be a good father. He wasn't ready to be a father. That's what she said. He wasn't ready to be a father when he feels like he is, because he wants his own child right now. I don't know. It was just ugly. I felt like as much as Jasmine and Gino, as much as they put on for the cameras and try to give us a show, this moment, for whatever reason, I kind of felt was kind of real and raw. Maybe a lot of people are going to disagree with that, but I felt like when we were watching, as they were fighting about this, I felt like we were watching the real Jasmine and Gino, that they were being completely transparent, and we were like, listening in on a couple's argument, and I felt like this was like a very real and raw moment. So he tells her, that, she screwed up in her dumb head, and Jasmine looks at him and she's like, what an ass. This is what she tells him. And Gino says, no, you're the ass. So she threatens to divorce him. She threatens to go back to Panama. He tells her that she should have been just as involved as he was in making sure that the documentation was correct in order for her children to be included. So according to Gino, they were both equally at fault, and she should not be putting all the blame on him. I don't know what to say about that. I don't know if he was, how involved she was in the application process. If she knew, because, English is her second language. She speaks it really well, but I don't know if she can, I don't know. I have no idea. I'm pretty sure the documents were both in English and Spanish. So I don't know how involved she was in the application process, if it's fair for him to blame her, that, the kids were omitted. I just don't know what to say. I just don't know what to say. So Gino walks out of the cafe, and Jasmine, she's sitting at the table by herself. She's sobbing, and she says that Gino is not a good husband and that she should never have married him. Now, we know how these people are. They'll argue really, really, really hard, and then they make up even harder. So the next time that we see them, they're going to be all lovey-dovey, and everything is going to be okay again. And he might even agree to hire the attorney to help him with the immigration process for the children. So, like, what is going on with the TLC money? Why do they act like, or they want us, why do they act like they're not getting paid by TLC, or he's not getting paid by TLC? I don't know if Jasmine is or isn't. I hear that the foreigners do not get paid on 90 Day Fiance. It's only the Americans who get paid, the American citizens who get paid. So, like, what is he doing with this TLC money? Is that what they're living off of? Like, I don't understand how you worked as long as Gino has worked. He's got retirement. I think he's got investments. He's got savings. He's got all kinds of stuff. But you can't put together $5,000 to have an attorney deal with the paperwork so that you can make sure that these kids get here within a reasonable amount of time. I don't know. Moving on to Emily and Kobe. So Emily, Kobe, and her parents and her children are driving to Kobe's family's home to meet Kobe's family for the very first time. As they're driving there, Emily and her family, they're like scared to death because, in all fairness, Kobe is giving some very scary stories. So as they're driving, first of all, the traffic was chaotic in the city. And then as they got further away from the city, it was beginning to get dark outside, and Kobe was worried about them getting stopped for a passport check, because he says sometimes they'll get stopped under the guise of checking their passports, but instead people will come out of the bushes and try to steal your car. So he was telling these really scary stories, these really scary scenarios. And so Emily and her family were scared out of their mind. So when they get to the parents, when they get to Kobe's father's home, Kobe's father, and I don't know if that was a stepmom or who the other woman was, but and his siblings, his whole entire family is out there waiting for them on the porch. They're all dressed in traditional Cameroonian clothes. I'm pretty sure that Emily and her family felt really relieved that the family was also dressed in Cameroonian clothes, because I felt like they were worried that maybe the family was going to be dressed in like Western clothes and they were going to be the only ones dressed traditionally, and they would have felt out of place, or they would have felt awkward about that. But the family was dressed in traditional Cameroonian clothes as well. So the whole family is outside. Kobe has 10 siblings from his father. Okay, talk about being fruitful and multiplying. He has 10 siblings on his father's side. So the family performs a traditional song and dance to welcome Emily and her family. Kobe's father gives Emily's father like a special plant in memory of his own father, which would be Kobe's grandfather. So that was a really emotional moment. It was sort of unexpected for Kobe. He didn't think that his dad was going to do that. So when he did that, Kobe got emotional as well. He started crying too. That really touched him, that they were incorporating the memory of his grandfather. So Kobe's father is extremely appreciative of what Emily's father has done for Kobe so far, allowing Kobe to live with them, allowing Kobe to obviously do well in America, taking care of him, watching over him, and also accepting Kobe as their own son. So the father was extremely gracious towards Emily's parents. And I think that her parents were also appreciative of how the father was thanking them, especially Emily's father. Emily's mother, I mean, I don't know about her. Okay, the jury is still out on her. But Emily's father definitely showed, how gracious he was. So Kobe's father wants them to have, so they sit down and they start talking. Oh, he's also very appreciative about how far they've traveled just to come see the family. So then Kobe's father starts talking to them over dinner about having a traditional Cameroonian wedding. The father says that they will not be able to recognize Emily as Kobe's wife until they get the blessings from the ancestors, and they get these blessings through a traditional wedding. So Emily and her family, they're kind of like, well, we didn't come here to plan a wedding or to be part of a wedding. It's not supposed to, we weren't expecting all of this. This is kind of like a surprise to us. It wasn't in our agenda. It wasn't in our itinerary to worry about a whole wedding, because when they dealt with their own American wedding, that was a whole lot. And so they're still trying to recover from that. And so they're not ready to dive into like a whole nother big wedding. So the next day, Kobe is able to give them a little bit more information about this traditional wedding. Kobe tells them that Emily's parents are going to have to prepare food for the wedding. They're going to have to give a dowry. No, not give a dowry. I think they receive a dowry. I think the family that's giving up the daughter is the family that's receiving the dowry because they're losing a daughter. So, and then Kobe also tells them that they're expecting 100 people at this wedding. So, Emily's parents, they're like, 100 people? We're going to have to cook for 100 people. They don't know how to cook traditional Cameroonian food. They don't know what the hell's going on. And all of this is just extremely overwhelming for them. And so, Emily's mom, in her confessional, she says that she feels kind of funny about this whole dowry thing, exchanging her daughter for an animal or a piece of property or whatever it is they're going to be exchanging her for. And it's like, Mom, this is just symbolic, okay? It's not like they really expect you to take home a goat or a cow back to America. It's just all symbolic, okay? It's just all symbolic. I need you to relax. So to me, I feel like Emily's mom is just a little bit uptight about all of this. Emily's father is a lot more accepting, but we'll see how it goes. I can't imagine Emily's parents doing anything for this traditional wedding. So we'll see if they're really going to be like how this is all going to work out, because it's going to be really interesting to see. I'm pretty sure they're going to get a lot of help from Kobe's family and the people in their town. Moving on from there, we have Rob and Sophie, which to me, they are the most irritating, the most annoying couple so far this season, right next to Manuel and Ashley. Manuel and Ashley. So Rob and Sophie. Now, understand that they were living in LA, okay? They got married in LA. They were living in LA, but because they were arguing too much, supposedly, Sophie leaves to stay with a friend in Austin, Texas. I don't think she left because of that. I think there's other reasons going on. I don't know if they're leaving for business reasons or for other. I just can't buy that she's in LA with Rob, her husband, and then she just packs her bag and ends up in Austin with this friend of hers because her and Rob had a fight. That just seems really dramatic. That just seems excessive to, go several states away because you and your husband had a fight. But anyway, so they're in Austin because Rob ends up following Sophie to Austin. He's able to get an apartment. When did this all happen? When did this all happen? Where did you get the money to make this happen? Because I thought Rob was broke, and that's the reason why he couldn't upgrade his little living space in LA to accommodate Sophie, because he was struggling financially. Or maybe the money he had in LA goes a lot longer in Austin, Texas. I don't know, but he has an apartment all of a sudden, because we see Sophie packing up one suitcase, because she said this is going to be like a trial period. She's going to pack up only one suitcase, and she's going to go back home being the apartment that he has in Austin. She's going to go to the apartment that they share together, I guess, in Austin, and she's going to give it a try to see if they can get along. So she's not going to move all of her stuff back into their apartment, just one suitcase. So she arrives at the apartment. It seemed like Rob was really happy to see her. It seemed like she was also happy to see her husband. She walks into the apartment, and like on top of this table or this dresser, she sees like a note and some flowers. So it looks like, he's trying to make a very romantic gesture. So she gets excited. She picks up the flower, and then he had to warn her when it was a little bit too late that the flower had thorns. And so the poor girl pricked herself from the thorns on the flower. And then she picks up the note, and she thought it was a love letter, but it was actually a to-do list. And it was Rob's list of requirements or demands for her to try to help improve their relationship. All the things that he wanted her to change, like picking up after herself better. I don't know, washing the dishes. I don't know what it was. It was like a whole bunch of like to-do stuff. And also he wanted her to, like to use, well, we'll get to that later. So he has this to-do list, and she's like, what is this? And he tells her, these are things that I want you to try to improve on, which is going to help our relationship. And Sophie's like, you don't understand. Our issues are not that I don't pick up after myself. Our issues is that you are online cheating. Okay. You're being unfaithful to me online. That's what our issue is. We need to address that. And he says, she says it's online cheating that they have to address, and they also have to address how controlling Rob is. And so Rob says, how am I controlling? And then that's when Sophie says, well, you monitor how much toilet paper I use. And he was like, hell yeah, I'm going to monitor how much toilet paper you use. And then she says, well, I'm a woman, Rob, or we're going to use more toilet paper than you are. So then they start arguing again, right? They're arguing about the online cheating and the toilet paper and the to-do list. And she gets up and she walks away. She leaves. Y'all, she got up and she left. She's like, oh, it's not going to work out. And she takes her suitcase and she left. I think that's what she did. I don't know. Rob and Sophie, to me, I don't know if it was Rob and Sophie or Manuel and Ashley, but one of these couples, from what I heard, from what I've been reading online, one of these couples were added on last minute to replace possibly Angela and Michael, because we haven't seen Angela and Michael yet. Okay. We haven't seen Angela and Michael yet. And we don't even see like in the previews of Angela and Michael. So I don't know if they've already deleted all of their scenes because of the alleged domestic violence situation between Angela and Michael, where Michael had to run away from home because Angela was, I don't know, holding him hostage or doing something to him. So this is the reason why we got Rob and Sophie with their contrived storyline, because this storyline to me seems extremely forced. It seems it doesn't make any sense that they're arguing about toilet paper. And then the online cheating, I thought that after they had gotten married, Rob had stopped that. So did he do it again after they got married? I'm very confused. Their storyline to me doesn't make any sense. And I'm wondering if it's because they were kind of like added on last minute. And so they're just kind of like scrambling to make some type of a storyline for them. I have no idea, but whatever was going on with them is just not making any sense. So, then a couple of days later, they meet up again. Oh, that's when he gave her the flowers, when they met the second time. It wasn't the first time that he gave her what did he do? Wait a minute. I got myself confused here. A couple of days later, they meet again. He gives her another flower. Okay. He gave her a rose this time, and it was wrapped up in, proper wrapping. So nobody got pricked by the rose. So he brought her a rose and he brought her a poem, and they met outside a country western bar. So he reads the poem to her. She likes it, whatever. They go inside the country western bar for some country western dance lessons. And as they're dancing, she happens to mention to him that a male friend of hers is going to come visit her from England. And immediately Rob gets like defensive. He kind of feels some type of way about this. So then he asks her, well, what does he look like? And she was like, well, he's attractive, but he's just not my type. So now he gets even more worried because I guess she said that he was, attractive. He doesn't look like Quasimodo. Okay, he's a decent looking guy, but he's just not my type. You're my type. So Rob is feeling some kind of way. And it's just stupid. The jealousy between these two people is what's going to destroy them. The jealousy, which leads to the argument, is what's going to destroy this marriage because they're just way too jealous of one another. I don't know if I just don't understand. I don't understand, and then later on, she makes it seem like, well, he's not coming to see me. He was going to come to America anyway. And while he's here, he'll make a stop to see me. So I was confused. I was like, okay, is he coming to see you specifically? Or is he just coming to see a group of y'all? He's just coming to America for another reason. And he's just going to happen to swing by and say hi to you. If that's the case, why are you making it such a big deal to Rob? I could have sworn she told him when they were in the bar, she said to him that my friend from England is coming to see me. Or maybe she just said he's coming to America. I don't know. I felt like, her choice of words or how she phrased it kind of got him all crazy. But then again, Rob, Sophie had a life before you, and her life before you cannot stop just because now she's married to you. So if her male friend is coming to see her, relax. Okay, just relax. Or is your relationship on such thin ice that you feel threatened when some male friend from her recent past is coming is dropping by for a visit? I don't understand why these people are so extremely jealous of one another. I just don't understand. I feel like these people should not have gotten married. Rob and Sophie should not have gotten married. They're just too immature. They kind of act like teenagers instead of grown adults when it comes to this relationship. Moving on to Nicole and Mahmoud. So it's the next day after Mahmoud has arrived in the United States. He's in a much, much better mood because he got some sleep and he got some sex. So he's in a whole lot better mood the next day when he wakes up. So she takes him to the Santa Monica Pier. Mahmoud, this is only day 2 of him being in America. Not even a full day, okay? Because he arrived the night before. He's already homesick. He's already missing Egypt, missing his family. So they're walking down the pier and they pass by a Muslim woman who is dressed in traditional Muslim attire. And according to Nicole, she said that Mahmoud stopped dead in his tracks to look at this woman. I didn't see anybody stopping anywhere. I think he kind of glanced at her. And to me, I thought he was glancing at her because he saw someone familiar to what he sees in his home country. Women dressed like that. According to Nicole, to let her tell it, he was looking at her. He was lusting after this woman, and he completely stopped walking and was just gawking at this woman, according to Nicole. So she tells him that, she feels really jealous, and her jealousy came out, right? Well, she didn't tell him she felt jealous, but she tells him that if he wants a traditional Muslim woman, he might as well go back to Egypt. If that's what you want, go back to Egypt. She says, because I'm not going to sit here and allow you to be a womanizer. So if that's what you want, you better go get it back in Egypt. And he's like, excuse me, what did you say? And she was like, you heard me. And so then he was like, you know what? I'm done. And he walks away. And I'm like, Mahmoud, where are you going? Do you know where you're going? This is your second day in LA. Where are you going, Mahmoud? Please come back so that we don't have to see your face on a milk carton. Please come back. So he walks off. I don't know where he went. I don't know where he thought he was going, but he was gone. And this is only day 2, y'all. This is only day 2, barely. And they're already arguing because she claims he was gawking at some woman on the pier. Moving on from there, we have Manuel and Ashley. So they're going to go look at motorcycles, and they get to the motorcycle shop and they try on, they're trying different bikes. And Ashley thinks that they're going to be riding these bikes or riding the bike together. And Manuel tells her, no, I'm going to be taking the bike into the city, into New York, to go see my family that live in the city. And Ashley was like, yeah, we're going to go together. And he was like, no, this is my chance to get away from you, to have some time to myself, to go visit my family. No, I'm not expecting you to come with me when I ride into New York. And so she gets really offended by this. She feels upset that he wants to be by himself and that he does not want to take her when he goes to see his family. Later on, they go to a spiritualist. She claims that he's got some type of a blockage in his throat, not a literal blockage, but like some type of spirit or demon or whatever is blocking him from communicating, because he doesn't communicate as much as she would like him to. And there's like a whole side of his family that he's trying to keep away from her, his children, the family in New York. And so she wants to unblock this whatever that's keeping him from communicating. So she brings up wanting to know his family in New York, how important it is to her to get to know his family, to be integrated into his family. And he's like, okay, fine, girl, whatever, just be quiet. So the next time that we see Manuel, he's taking English classes and he's struggling. Okay, it's a struggle for him. So I don't know how long he's been in this class. If this is his first day, I thought he did pretty okay. If this is like 6 months into it, yeah, he's struggling. But I don't know how long he's been taking these classes, so I can't really gauge how well he's doing. So even though Manuel had said yes to Ashley about seeing his family in New York, she still wants him to take this spiritual bath. Okay, so the spiritual bath is going to take place outside of their home underneath the walnut tree. So when they go outside, they hear things rustling in the trees and they look up and it's a bunch of raccoons. Y'all, if I would have seen some damn raccoons that close to me, you don't understand how fast I would have taken off. I would have broken both kneecaps running so fast to get. To me, raccoons are just really big rodents. I see nothing cute about raccoons at all, but there were raccoons in the tree and they stayed there. So then she makes him take off his shirt, his pants, and then she starts bathing him in this, whatever spiritual bath. And she asks him, what will his family think about her when she finally gets to meet them? And he tells her, well, they're going to be kind of worried. It's going to be a problem because you're not Catholic. You claim to be a witch. You practice witchcraft. My family's traditional Catholics. So yeah, it's going to be a hot mess when they meet you, Ashley. And so Ashley's like, well, they need to accept me for what I am and for who I am. And I'm like, girl, you're doing the most. You wanted to meet his family. He said yes. Let's just start with that. I mean, I don't even see how religion would even come up when you're meeting his family. Isn't it just, hello, how are you? My name is Ashley. I live in Rochester. I really love your nephew, son, cousin, whatever. Like, why would we get into talking about witchcraft? But anyways, moving on to Ed and Liz. So the wedding is Ed and Liz, their wedding is less than 8 weeks away. And so when we see them, it's in the morning. They're making breakfast with Liz's daughter. So as they're making the breakfast, they kind of get into like a little tiny argument because they're trying to argue under their breath so that the child won't really hear them argue. And it's all because Ed is really anal about them making a mess, or the child making a mess while they're making breakfast. And so Liz is like, relax, man. We're going to clean it up afterwards. And plus, you make a mess too. So then she points out on the stove, whatever, some crumbs that he left on the stove from whenever he was cooking pasta or whatever. So she's like, this is the mess that she made. And so I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, Liz, this is how you want to live? You want to live with a man like Ed who's going to be this uptight about the little messes that are made after cooking? Like, what is going on? So the child, Liz's daughter, she knows that they're arguing, and she tells them, she's like, look, let's just cook the damn breakfast and we'll clean up the damn mess afterwards. And I'm like, yes, ma'am. Yes. Teach these adults something. So after that, Liz goes wedding dress shopping with her mom and her grandmother. And her family, they don't like Ed. Her mother really doesn't like Ed. And so, her mother tells her, when I get a chance, I'm going to have a conversation with Ed because she really doesn't like Ed. And so Liz tells her mom, okay, I understand that you want to talk to him, Mom, but just don't go too hard on him because, I do that enough in our relationship. He doesn't need it from you as well. So Liz becomes very protective of Ed. And I've seen this in Liz before where all of a sudden she'll start like feeling really sorry for Ed and she'll be very protective of Ed. And I'm wondering if that's the reason why she's with him. It's because it's mainly out of sympathy more so than out of love. Because I've seen these moments in Liz where she becomes like she starts to really feel sorry for him. Now, Ed is someone who I don't think you should ever feel sorry for. Ed is someone who can, he can take care of himself. He's got, a nasty tongue. He knows how to throw insults. He knows how to make Liz cry. So Ed can take care of himself. And I don't think he has that same sense of sympathy for Liz that she does for him, or that same sense of protection over Liz like she does for him. So she tells her mom, when you do talk to him, please keep it cute. Don't go too hard on him because he's my Ed. So she tries on the first dress, which was like this flowery dress. When I say flowery, it literally had prints of flowers on it. Like you could see the flowers and the leaves on it. And to me, it was just too, I don't know. They're going to get married in a barn. It just, no, I didn't like that first dress at all. I don't understand why young women who have cute shapes want to wear these very matronly looking type of wedding gowns that are just covering up everything. It's a whole lot of material. I just don't understand. Anyways, the second dress was a lot better. It fit her beautifully. It showed off her curves. I like the second dress a whole lot better. Now, they are on a very tight budget because right now they're not even working. They are living off of their savings while they're waiting to get their real estate licenses, Ed and Liz. So their wedding budget is extremely tight. The dress that she chose was $885, but she didn't care. She bought it anyways, even though it was way over budget. She went ahead and she bought it anyways. That's the dress that she wanted. And, it doesn't even really matter. She's probably going to end up returning it because I don't think Ed and Liz are going to get married. I seriously doubt Ed and Liz are going to get married. I'm hoping that they're not going to get married because they argue just as bad as Sophie and Rob. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, it was just a little nothing episode. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it on your way out. Please don't forget to rate the video if you like this content. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.